Today, I want to explore the delicate line between trust and control, why you are the only one to blame in case your partner cheats on you, and how to prevent these kinds of situations. Meet Rachel. She's in a relationship with Mike, drawn to his outstanding intelligence and kind heart.
What? Your mind, it's amazing.
Both professionals, they work together at the same firm. Mike as a lawyer and Rachel as a paralegal. Their shared vulnerabilities create a foundation of trust and compatibility,
Will you be my girlfriend?
leading them to move in together in less than a year. Everything seems perfect between the two of them, until someone comes into view.
You're Mike Ross. And you're Logan Sanders.
Enter Logan, Rachel's past lover, who unexpectedly reappears due to certain circumstances. Rachel and Logan find themselves working together, and their collaboration takes a toll on her relationship with Mike. Despite her initial resistance,
Logan, I should go.
Rachel succumbs to Logan's seduction. In a moment of clarity, she manages to halt the situation before it spirals out of control. However, the web of lies she weaves has lasting consequences.
It means something or not?
It meant something when it happened, but now...
And the expected occurs.
We're done.
So what does a psychopath have to say about this? Number 1, relationships are fundamentally meant to have cracks. Do you truly know every nook and cranny of who you are? Probably not. And guess what? It's the same for everyone. So why would you believe in someone else's promises about the unknown? Look, when people say things like, "I love you and I only want to be with you," what they are actually saying is, "I love you, and from all the people I've met so far, I choose to be with you." Phew, dodged a bullet there, right? Thank God there's no secret rendezvous with the bestie who's been safely tucked in the friend zone for over 7 years. But what about someone new? Someone who unravels parts of them that they never knew existed. Now, that's a game changer. As I mentioned before, good intentions are great, but without experience, they're useless. In the early stages of any relationship, both parties tend to idealize each other, turning a blind eye to things that can potentially lead to future issues. As time goes on, those blindfolds naturally start slipping, unveiling the less appealing aspects of each other. It's a cycle that will keep repeating, and each time, you'll face a one-sided decision, in which you'll debate whether this new bad feature of your partner is actually important or not. Then again, you don't know yourself all that well. And whatever is the outcome of that decision, there's going to be times in which you'll be completely sure about it, and others in which you'll be filled with doubts. If this is not your first relationship, you'll discuss these issues with your partner, finding solutions together. But there'll always be those things that you don't think are important enough to even mention, and the accumulation of those become what I call a crack, which essentially is a visual representation of a vulnerability. What's so fascinating about cracks is that you don't often realize they exist. To others, it might manifest as a longing for a feeling, or a longing for something. That something can be many things, but in my experience, the older the woman is, the more likely it is for this thing to be a longing to feel sexually desired. Number 2, everyone is vulnerable to the unknown. I've seen countless healthy relationship quotes state things like,
"Authentic relationships are built on
A
trust."
relationship with no trust is like a car without gas. You can stay in it, but it won't go anywhere.
well, let me break that fairy tale for you. People will cheat if they know there are no consequences. Evidently, in the right scenario. As I explain in the 2nd chapter of my ebook, Psychopath: Secrets on Life and Women, the purpose of a scenario is to evoke a specific instinct or a group of instincts. In other words, it's the technical part of an illusion. When someone has been in a relationship long enough to develop at least one crack, they automatically become extremely vulnerable to those who can see it. Let's put the example of Rachel. How did she and Logan end up working together? Rachel was not the lawyer from the firm in charge of Logan. It all started when Rachel made Logan take a step down so that he wouldn't get personal with Mike.
I want you to stop the personal attacks on Mike.
Taking advantage of this opportunity, Logan uses this to praise Rachel's professionalism and asks for her advice on a business decision that he needs to make.
Harvey is who you should be planning it with.
Well, Harvey's got stuff to do, and he's not the one who convinced me to back off Mike.
Rachel, with her guard down since Logan doesn't seem to be trying anything, agrees to work with him.
Are you my lawyer or not?
We'll get right on it.
Thank you.
And thus they start spending some time alone together. Over the course of the next few days, Logan makes sure that Rachel receives a message that he is taking better care of his future.
If that's what it takes.
Did you call this board meeting just so we could spend more time together?
I know that I only even arranged it to spend time with you.
You really didn't.
Hitting precisely in one of the cracks she used to have. You see, she revealed in one of her conversations with her best friend that she dated Logan while he was married.
Define dated.
We had an affair while he was married.
Holy shit.
I know.
Logan had painted a picture of an imminent divorce to be with Rachel, promising her that she was the one he truly loved. However, the truth unfolds when Rachel overhears Logan admitting he would never have an affair with a paralegal in a conversation with his wife.
I don't even know that girl, okay? And do you think that if I was having an affair that I would have it with a paralegal?
After this, Rachel decides to end things with Logan, the man she was willing to marry soon. It's under these circumstances that her previous love comes back to her life. As if it was meant to be, the man whose only flaws were his uncertainty about his future and lying to her, now appears as a responsible man learning to take care of his father's company and willing to make his work harder just from his appreciation for her.
I don't want to hurt Rachel.
Even though Rachel couldn't be happier with Mike, her mind starts to play tricks on her. Logan's changed attitude was a direct attack to the crack she had from their previous relationship, slowly convincing her that her past love could have been a success.
Humility. Another thing I love about you.
And once you convince the mind that something's not so bad,
Tell me to stop, and I'll stop.
the body will follow. That's the case for Rachel, and she was only able to stop it from going any further thanks to Logan's mistake. In a rushed movement, Logan breaks the scenario that was playing in Rachel's mind, snapping her back to reality.
Rachel.
In essence, this scenario evokes the instinct of the desire for a past love to have been a success. However, creating it requires you knowing and being the responsible for whatever it was that went wrong in the past. The rest depends on how good of a player you are. Number 3, how to make the cracks as tiny as possible. I understand people as a fusion of two things, mind and body. The previous parts might have led you into thinking that relationships are quite susceptible to sabotage due to the presence of cracks, and that at some point, most of them will. While cheating in the sense of having an affair is quite common, there are ways to protect your relationship from this. More precisely, there are ways to make the cracks as tiny as possible. Trust and control are part of the same line. The more trust you give to someone, the less control you exert on them. Nowadays, people idealize trust as the foundation of a healthy relationship. But that's only because it's convenient for both parties. Think about it. The less control you have over your partner, the less effort you need to put on the table. The benefit of relying on trust more than on control is the free time you get in return, but the cost is that it's not the most effective method at dealing with affairs. When you choose to trust unquestioningly in your partner, you choose to trust in their morality and decision-making. Then again, as humans, we don't really know ourselves, and sometimes we make decisions that contradict our beliefs. If that's the case, how can you fortify your relationship? Very simple. Moving a little bit into the control side of the trust control line. As I said before, most people don't realize about the cracks they have, but others do, and that includes you. Here's where you have to put the effort that requires using control. In order to make this crack in your partner as tiny as possible and prevent anyone else from taking advantage of it, you have to be one of the first people to recognize its existence. This is not about bombarding your partner with questions like, "Do you feel something is missing?" or "Is there anything I can do to make you happier with me?" Instead, it's about perceptiveness, understanding your partner well enough to notice the subtle changes in their behavior that occur as a consequence of the crack getting deeper. You'll most likely find these slight changes in your partner realizing that they now immerse themselves in their own thoughts after certain topics, or not get into much detail about others. For more information about this aspect, just check my ebook. Once you identify the crack, the last thing you want to do is to bring it up out of nowhere. I don't know how old you are, but hopefully old enough to understand that there are certain things you don't ask for, such as in the case of sex. Detecting the crack allows you to craft the scenario that fulfills your partner's current feeling of longing for something. From here on, depending on how good of a player you are, you'll be more or less rewarded. In general, a player likes to make it seem as a coincidence, so that the girl feels a genuine connection and thinks that you both were meant to be together. In the case of Rachel, there was no way for Mike to perceive her crack.
You loved him that much?
I told you that I loved him.
Yeah, but you didn't tell me that.
Due to his lack of details about her past with Logan.
You didn't tell me about this for a week, and then when you finally did, you lied.
What do you think you can do in these situations? The answer comes from giving a second thought to the sentence, "People will cheat if they know there are no consequences." A small tip: how can you give consequences to your partner's actions without limiting their freedom? Unfortunately, I still have to check if I can answer this question via YouTube. For more in-depth insights, consider booking a coaching session or acquiring my ebook. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm all ears.